Welcome back. Many of you are familiar with Mrs. Orly Delgado, but for those of you who are not, this woman has over 40 years of experience with area troubled youth.
Also, Mrs. Delgado is also very well known among celebrities due to her work with area children. Our Sean Davenport has more.
Hi, how you doing? It's good to see you. Okay.
Good to see you.
Okay.
Come in.
I had the opportunity to talk to Mrs. Orly Delgado. She has been a pillar in the Buffalo community for over 40 years.
Anything that would help me to deal with people. I enjoy all my life. I have enjoyed all my life dealing with people from all walks of life. Children to adults, be they white, black, or whatever, because we are one humanity and we have to learn to live with our differences. And we have to all be very, very knowledgeable of that put us here, which is the Creator. And he knew what he was doing when he put us all here in different languages and in different looks and appearances. It says so in his words, that he created us all different for a reason, so that we could get to know each other. And that's what my life has been about, trying to get to know people, to understand people, and to gauge my life by that understanding.
Orly is a true role model to the youth of the community who has devoted her time and energy for a good cause.
Inadvertently, I got involved with gangs, which I did not know at that time they were gang members. And that in itself is a history. But not by design. I was involved with them because of the need to be. And I found that these youth, some age 10, 11, some younger, some 18, 19, that they had many needs that were not being met.
Mrs. Delgado was not only known for her passion for youth, but she personally knew the great jazz musician Miles Davis.
Got to know him very well, and then when I would go to New York to visit my brother, we was always together. We always had dinner with him. So he had his way, but he was a nice person. I enjoyed talking with him. He had a lot to tell me. I learned some things from him in terms of life. So I enjoyed meeting Miles Davis and speaking with him.
Many of us knew Jim Brown as a record-breaking running back for the Cleveland Browns. But did you also know that he was a positive influence on hardcore gang members throughout many cities throughout this country? He also brought the Mayor I Can program to Buffalo with the help of Mrs. Orly Delgado.
Jim Brown has his reputation, of course, we're all aware of that, and of course he knew we were aware of that. But when I called him and I heard about his Mayor I Can program and how it was impacting upon the lives of gangs out way out in Texas and other places out west and in New York, I was just overwhelmed with the thought that he was out there doing these kinds of things with these kids. So immediately when I contacted him, he asked me to submit everything in writing and something on the center, which I did. Within a week, he had agreed to come to the Langston Hughes to Buffalo and to Langston Hughes to do the Mayor I Can workshops. I'm so thankful that he was able to come and to share his program with our people and our kids. And I know 3 individuals to this day has been successful with initiating the things that he taught them in the workshops.
Her doors were always open, and you might be surprised just who might walk through them.
Inadvertently, it took hold with not only his family, but so many other people around. And so everybody began to write out to Chicago. And I was that conduit for these letters to go to Chicago. And so eventually Elijah called me and asked me would I be the secretary, and he was going to send someone to get us more organized. And at that time, it was Malcolm X.
What did you think about Buffalo?
Well, the first night he arrived at my mother's back door, my brother said, "Mama, open the door." So he came in and Malcolm was behind him along with Vernell, another friend of ours. He said, "Sister, I must be in Eskimo land because this is cold weather." And it was so funny and great because he's full of snow. And he just took his hat and coat off and hugged my mother, you know. He was a delightful person.
Orly Delgado knew personally another famous connection, boxing's all-time greatest, Muhammad Ali.
This is a picture of Muhammad Ali's training camp in Deer Lake, Pennsylvania, up on somewhat a small mountain. And it was a beautiful sight, and I stayed in his cabin. And all I can say, when I met Muhammad Ali, and in fact, I went back on another weekend by myself and stayed another week with them up there. I got greedy and I stayed another week. But he was the nicest, the kindest person that you would ever meet, contrary to what they say about him and his big mouth at that time. It was a whole new Muhammad Ali when he was up on the mountaintop with those children. You would not believe how kind and considerate and how non-rambunctious he was.
In the early 70s, Mrs. Delgado's brother, Robert, had the opportunity to train Muhammad Ali in a boxing ring.
This is a shot of my brother, Robert.
Okay.
We call him Bob. And Muhammad Ali, he was in his camp at Deer Lake, Pennsylvania, and that's where this picture was shot, where he was giving him some of his wisdom in terms of boxing, because he was headed to be the featherweight champion of the world himself. And something happened that caused him to deviate from that plan, and eventually he became Muhammad Ali's trainer.
In Buffalo, this is Sean Davenport reporting for Western New York Magazine.